All right, this is a weed eater, not the Pull-On Pro. That's the Pull-On Pro. This is a weed eater, 12 and a half horse um, lawnmower here, riding lawnmower, and I have an issue with no spark. I figured out what the problem was. I did a little spark test with this, and I even put my finger on it, as hazardously as I could to do that to test to see if it'll spark, and it wasn't sparking at all. I know that's not the right key for it, but it operates the ignition anyway. So it also has another issue where the starter solenoid back behind here is not working. So I had to jump it to this bolt right here. But the main issue that I had, I started to try to figure out. I had fuel, poured it right into the carburetor because I was out of gas up there. The fuel filter is kind of clogged, so I just wanted to pour it straight in there. Wasn't getting any, wasn't starting, so I, of course, then went to check that. Check the spark, no spark. So I started chasing these wires out, and they lead to a couple of sensors, or not sensors, but you can call them sensor if you want. But basically, it's cutout switch. So you have a cutout switch for the brake engagement here, the little engagement. If you push in the clutch over there, of course, anybody that has a riding lawnmower, you push in the clutch, that disengages that. So that should drop down or raise up. So I'll raise it up real quick. So that should drop down. Yep, drops down there. And so I chased the switch for that. It's like a cutout switch. And it goes down. It's right next to the, there's the starter solenoid, and right behind the starter solenoid right there, where are you at, yellow bugger? It's right here, right where my finger's at, right behind all that stuff. I can get back there with my camera. Right there. So there's where the wires, it goes through the frame underneath. And basically the connections from the lever over there, the clutch engagement, go up underneath here, and that leads back up to that lever right there. If you look down inside, right behind this, right there, that's that lever coming out right there. All right, so, and underneath where those wires go, directly underneath there, if you can see up top, that white spot is actually the switch, right? So there's a little switch right there, and that switch, when you have that clutch engaged, that allows you to start the vehicle or keep it running. If you disengage that and try to start the vehicle, it won't start. Or there's other issues. Anyway, so the problem that caused it not to engage properly is that this rod is bent right here, causing it to come too short and not actually fully contact that switch up there. So it's not completely closing the circuit. So a workaround, instead of trying to bend that back, because that is kind of a hardened steel, I actually pulled the plug, which is really simple. I pulled this plug out from that switch, brought it around and looked at it, and I said, oh, okay, there's two black wires and two white wires. Huh, okay. And those, you could probably jump those across. Well, I got a better way of jumping them. Right inside, figured I can grab two of these, stick them in there. Sure enough, they fit just right. So let me go ahead and stick those in there. And they slide in just like that. If you have a different brand or a different type of lawnmower, this may not work exactly for you, but you jump the black to the white on both sides, and that just closes the circuit, whereas the switch leaves the circuit open. So you have a couple of these switches in place. There's one somewhere back here, and that is for, it's down inside there. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah, it's inside there. Can't really see where my hand is. There it is. So there's a switch under here, which is this right here, which operates the mower deck. I can get that to look. There it is. So it's right where my finger is down there. See my little finger? There's a little switch right there. If this system is bent or that switch is bad, then you can isolate that circuit too, and it's somewhere down inside as well. And there's also another one for the seat as well. So the seat may be bad, and all you have to do is jump the white wire to the black wire. Most of the time it'll be white to black. Actually, in this case there are 3, so let's just see how that one works anyway. If I can get it off, if it'll let me. Will it? Yep, here it comes. There it goes. Comes right off of there. Alright, looks like there's only 2 pins there. And so that means that I would be able to jump that if that switch went bad. Just jump that, and that should get you away from your no spark issue. I'm not exactly sure why this has 3 wires coming into it, but it's essentially, this is open right now. If you sat on the seat, that would contact that switch right there, and it would close, meaning there would be electrical connectivity between these wires on the left and the wires on the right. So it would be a closed circuit there. So then that would keep you from having the no spark issue. It makes it very hard to diagnose an engine with the no spark issue with all these little sensors and switches and stuff like that, but it is for safety. But if you're just trying to diagnose, at least you can, jump these wires like I said, and you can figure out, okay, the switch is bad, or in my case, that rod was bent and it wasn't allowing it to fully contact that switch, which I did operate that switch by hand, and tried to, of course I have to use my jumper cables on this right here because that solenoid back inside there is bad, but once I put those in there, I had full spark. So that's how to do that. So if you want to grab some jumper wires, or even snip these back and just isolate that completely, remove it out of the system completely, then you can do that too. But that's the basic idea there. So there you go.